Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad that you can join us at tonight's apparently webinar, which is entitled Understanding Men at Home and the Role of Senior Men. My name is Shenton Sum, and I'm from Grander Together, a project initiative of Cultivate SG. Now, what is an apparently webinar? Apparently, webinars are a series of panel discussions between people across generations bringing their professional or personal perspectives to help strengthen the intergenerational family. And tonight, we are very happy to be in partnership with Care Corner and Bros Before Wars. We also have the support of Mums for Life, Dads for Life, and SG Families. Who are on our panel tonight? Well, we have Philip Chan, who is a senior counselor at Care Corner Senior Services. Now, Philip has close to 2 decades of professional counseling experience in family matters, and he brings both the academic grounding and clinical experience to his work. Philip has dedicated the last 5 years supporting older adults and guiding them with compassion toward resilience and renewed purpose. Philip is a father to 4 children and himself a grandfather to 3. Our next panelist is Brian, who is co-founder of Bros Before Wars. Now, Brian, having executed in a corporate role all the global regional projects across private, public, and people sectors, Brian now has developed a deep love and appreciation for wanting to see cross-cultural and diverse and dynamic individuals and teams come together to build something meaningful that lasts. So Brian Liu, he is the co-founder of Bros Before Wars. It is a man's initiative to change the conversation around what it is to be a man in Singapore. So to start off, perhaps I could have Brian to share with us his perspectives of what he has been conversing with men about and what are the men's thoughts in the environment that he operates in. Brian, over to you.
Thank you, Shenton. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope most of you got home on time. I know the weather and traffic becomes bad. The first bit for me, just to do a very quick informal intro around what Bros Before Woes is. And by the way, Shenton, you get a thumbs up because most people don't say it right. You said it perfectly. Bros Before Woes. Woes meaning bad things, right? Calamity, tragedy. So having bros before that. So very quick intro on what Bros is. Let me share a few quick insights around what we've seen, and then that'll be my sharing. And then, of course, we want to hear from Philip too. So let me just jump right in. I'm Brian, as was mentioned, one of the co-founders at Bros Before Woes. About us, what are we? We are a ground-up initiative focused on men, for sure, around men's well-being, growth, and community building, running for more than 2 years. Strong following around socials, but of course, what's more important than socials is just really the real database and the real group of people that are coming back, right, often. And that's how we know we're doing a good job because we are seeing repeat people coming for our different events. And to me, that tells me that we're doing something right. And that's what I appreciate the most about the group. We have a massively oversubscribed 8-week intensive program that we've been running. So that's, again, a big part of what it is that we do. And we take an ecosystem approach to meeting men's needs, to keep them in community, to keep them away from being alone, where we really want to tackle head on male depression and suicide. So that's high level. That's really what we're about. The bros, I want to talk about the co-founders, my co-founders, because we want to embody our target audience. So meaning Kit, when we first started 2.5 years ago, he was yet to be married, he was engaged. So we're capturing that demographic of to be married single bros, right? Titus in the middle, he's a co-founder. He has a child of about 2 to 3 years, so he's a new dad. And I'm the eldest of the co-founders, where my son is 7, my girl is 6, so I'm the eldest one, transitioning into that whole primary school. So we wanted to embody the target audience, where we wanted to catch men in these life transitions, in these themes around being a single guy to a father, from a father to, again, managing the larger family now that I have older kids. So we live and breathe the things that we're talking about and preaching about, and that's the co-founders. What are we doing? We really want to do a lot around befriending, connecting bros, building community, and of course, inner work. We have a good team of certified counselors and therapists that build and develop content curriculum with us so that we're doing things in a very sound and latest practice type of way. And we do all of these things all towards the outcomes of really fighting against incel culture, the manosphere, male suicide, and of course, any other woes that most of the guys tend to circle around. That's really what we're about. How we slay the giant, or our view around what we want to do to slay these big giants. One is definitely around awareness. We hold monthly bros nights. So it's again outreach, let people know that there's a safe space, a cool space, a safe hangout. Of course, awareness around good thinking, right thinking through socials and content. So awareness is a big piece. Second big piece is, of course, around men taking action for themselves. So again, a whole the courses that I mentioned, the retreats that we run around growth, and also where we serve as a triage function. We triage men that have specific needs or have specific situations. We triage them towards trusted counselors. We triage them to trusted medical suppliers, those that we trust around sexual health. And of course, we triage men into community, into interest groups. May it be around physical activity, may it be around certain crafts, right? All of that is how we want to keep men in community and keep men moving and growing together. And last but not least, advocacy. Our vision is to build an army of decent bros, meaning that every guy in a time of need and a time of woe, they have a decent, safe pair of hands and a bro that they can go to. That is really our vision and our intervention around that. Advocacy, corporates, and of course partnerships and impact, right? Working with friends like Shenton, and just scaling, meeting good people that have the same vibe, that have the same tone of approaching these touchy subjects. That's who we want to work with, and that's how we want to scale. Quick view, anybody's interested in the course, this is what the 8 weeks cover. I won't go through them, but this is conversations that aren't had. We dive deep. The men really appreciate these conversations that most of them have never had before. I've had that together with other men. It hits hard. It hits hard. So that's just up there for anyone that wants to take a quick snapshot of what we cover. And again, let me just share a bit around the insights or a bit around what's real and what we see, right? The usual suspects that attend our monthly bros nights and the courses, right? But mainly the monthly bros nights, those dealing with anger, feeling that they can't control or it's difficult or they're just feeling angry all the time. They don't even know what. That's a usual suspect. A lot of them come through with that. A job or lack thereof, those that have been jobless for quite a while. Self-esteem is going down, frustration, angst is building. So we have a lot of guys that come with that context. Depression, those that are literally feeling that, yeah, or no, right? They've been diagnosed, right, with depression because we stand up as a men's mental health setup. So therefore, those with these challenges definitely come seeking community, seeking support. Those battling loneliness, either through recent breakups or, of course, through divorce. Those come through quite often as well. Linked to depression, burnout, fatigue. Again, those that because we stand for well-being, they definitely come as well. Key transitions happen a lot. Those that are joining the workforce for the very first time or brand new fathers, right? Just the whole decision making and the whole transition around that. We have a lot of guys coming at those key transition points. Those looking for direction and guidance, right? Direction and guidance in terms of life, a lot of those coming through. And again, surprisingly, to some, male friendship. Some they just like, I don't have male friends. It's difficult to find male friends, and they're just looking for other bros to hang out with. Perfect. Our bros nights are a perfect place for that. So these are the usual suspects that come through. And when I say usual, it's not because their challenge or their context is light or easy, but it's just that we have a lot of guys coming with this as the background. Next slide is to let me share some of the unusual suspects. So these are some of the things that we've seen that are not so intuitive. First and foremost, we see guys, and we've noticed more and more guys that actually come with religious trauma. What does that mean? It's meaning men from, doesn't matter what faith, all the sort of different faiths, they've had very, very bad times, years of bad times with their religious community, whether they felt peer pressured or forced to do certain things. I need to go every Saturday and Sunday. I must be in this with this particular religious group. Wow. So a lot of guys actually, surprisingly, we did not expect this. A lot of guys are still trying to get through that, or are still coming to terms with that, or are still in the midst of this. And again, it's across the different religions that we're seeing this because some guys in their religious communities, I'm expected to live like this, I'm expected to do that. Again, heavy. It weighs heavy on a lot of these guys. Suicide ideation and of course suicide survivors, those that have heavily had ideation, or those that of course had close brushes. There are definitely not as many, but they definitely come through. Those looking to volunteer, right, and finding purpose for sure. We get a few of those coming in. Community involvement, those that want to be involved in community or volunteering for the first time. And actually, we have male abusees. So men that are abused by their partners or, of course, by parents as well. They come through a bit unusual suspects. Two more I wanted to mention. One is actually we have a lot of what we call curious bros. No major issues, but are just curious. What are men's group about, right? So a lot of those come through with just legitimate curiosity. And this is almost on a monthly basis. So I want everybody to understand that a lot of men are curious, a lot of men are seeking, and therefore they are found here. So I appreciate that. The second one that's I forgot to mention is also a lot of men are what I call sent bros. They are sent by their aunt, they're sent by their wife. The partner in their life says, "Hey, this group, you go, you need to go." So we have a lot of sent bros as well. Yeah. So just to give you again a feel around what we see, what goes through. And of course, to give you a sense of what we're touching. So again, the last slide, I want to just share a quick one. Your watch list. There's a development where Bros Before Woes, as well as some other men's groups, come together and we're kicking off, in a way, a bit of a movement on the national level with some get political office holders, right, just to kick off a men's to sort of movement and community. Again, so those of you that are interested in men's work, a few of the men's groups will be present for this launch. So again, happy to have you drop by. We'll meet you and you can meet others as well. In a way, you get a buffet of some of the men's groups that are active in Singapore. Bros Nights, monthly Bros Nights. Please come drop by. 8-week course, I just shared that. That's coming up as well. And last but not least, would love for you to just connect. I don't want to spend too much time to say, just connect, ask me anything around Bros Nights, where to connect on socials. I don't want to put those up, but that's my quick little share out. I want to spend most of the time around questions and, of course, just hearing from Philip and interacting with everyone as well. Thank you so much for that time.
Thank you, Brian. That was a very interesting list of the usual and the unusual suspects. Thanks for surfacing this. And you know what came to mind was I think there could be some men who are embedded in their families, whether they are heads of their households or they could be the grandfathers. And I sense that there could be a group out there, correct me if I'm wrong, um,
Mm,
that they do have opinions to make um, in their family, some decisions that they ought to make. But sometimes because of differences of opinion, they chose to keep quiet in order to maintain the family harmony. It's like if you've got nothing good to say, don't say kind of a situation. And I believe your group is a channel, an avenue at which they can voice and speak and have a say. Is that right?
Oh yes, absolutely. And that's where men, they say that I've never said this to anyone in my family before, but I'm telling you, bunch of strangers, right? So that to me is a beautiful thing. And that reminded me actually, Shannon, of one thing I didn't mention too, was that at every monthly Bros Nights, and this has been consistent. Firstly, we get a whole mixture of racial and of racial backgrounds. We also always have foreigners attending. Always. There's always at least 2 or 3 foreigners attending. And we also always have the mixture of very young men. Majority are sort of in their 30s or 40s, but we definitely always also have those in their 50s and 60s as well. It's consistent. So to me, I can't bucket that there's a particular demographic or a particular profile that's coming to me. It's always every single month. So to me, there's a lot of hunger and there's a lot of seeking going on at all the different stages of life. So that's why the work that you're doing around the intergen piece, super crucial and very, very real. Yeah, very real.
Mm. Thank you very much for that. Really, we are really so glad that there is such a platform for bros to come together to just have a therapeutic conversation with everyone. And let's segue into the therapeutic side of things. So Philip is senior counselor at Care Corner. Philip, would you share with us from your perspective of what you've seen in the counseling space. And for our members of the audience, feel free to type in your questions in the Q&A function so that
Mm.
after Philip has expressed his views and shared, we will take some questions from the audience. So, Philip, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Brian, and thank you, Shanton. All right, I mean, I really learned quite a bit of things from Brian as he organized a different main group, and I find it really very, very useful. Okay, so basically, I will come from a perspective as a counselor. All right, for the last 5 years, I've been involved in doing counseling with seniors, and basically, big majority of them actually go through losses in their life. All right. And one of the things that I just want to highlight this area of they start to lose their identity as they go into seniorhood. Okay. All right. Maybe I just put in the PowerPoint, then I will just share from there. All right. So basically, when we talk about losing our identity as a senior, it does affect how we relate in the family. All right. I think sometimes Brian was saying that sometimes as a senior, there's no voice in the house, or they may be speaking too much in the house. And that's where sometimes there's conflict in the family or with the younger generation. So how do we normally actually identify ourselves? Okay, I'll just start by this. Okay, so the statement will be, who am I? All right. Who am I? This question probably starts from a very young age, but maybe we didn't ask when we are that young. But subsequently, we will ask ourselves, who am I in this society, in this group of people that I'm going with? So basically, the first thing is, our biological family actually is part of us. All right. I mean, I may come from a poor family, from a rich family, from a well-to-do family, from a different type of family setting. I may start to identify myself with that. Okay. But as I grow older and older, I may not have that. The identity may actually slowly die down. All right. I may have siblings that I relate to very well when they were much younger, but as they grow older and older, maybe in the 50s, 60s, they all have their own life, they all have their own struggle. This part of it actually becomes dim. Okay. And then how do we see who we are? The other aspect of it is our education. All right. Okay. Then our education, I mean, often we will look at ourselves, okay, because I have achieved this study, I've achieved this degree or this work. Okay, it becomes an identity for me. But what about when I get older and older? How do I identify myself with education? Or it's actually no more, it's meaningless to me already. Okay? All right, so it becomes dimmer. All right. The other aspect of it will be our job. Often in our 20s, 30s, 40s, we identify ourselves as what do we work as? Okay. All right. If, for example, if I'm an engineer now, all right. So by the time then I will identify myself as an engineer. But by the time in my 60s, either I'm being retrenched or I'm having to retire, then do I still identify myself as an engineer? I'm no more an engineer. Then who am I? And I think that's the question that in my work with seniors, often there is some struggle in them. And men generally, it's very true that they will keep quiet about it in their struggle. All right. Or they may even try to voice out their opinion, but they may be brushed aside by their family members, or their children are already grown up much older and they may have their own life, they may have their own idea, own opinion, and that becomes clashes in the family. Okay. Yes, the next thing is our own family. Can you all see the family? Sorry. I'm not seeing it. Yeah. So our job start to become diminish. Subsequently, what about our own our own family? All right, those of us that are married, we have our children. All right, I mean when we have children, all right, we start to care for them. But subsequently, as they grow older and older, when they become a senior, I mean for me, I have 4 children. They're all grown up already. They have their own life to run. They have their own decision to make. All right. Then will they still be spending time with me? Do they have time to spend with me? Or even they have their own children? All right, will they be so busy? This part of it can also slowly diminish. Okay, and there are seniors that actually, one of the complaints I have is that my children hardly call me. All right, so how is, I mean, for men will be that then how do they identify themselves as a father, which they've been doing it for so many years, but now that that role, that identity becomes slowly gone. Achievement, maybe we tie in with the education itself. All right, achievement can be in our job, things that we do. Okay, what about when we retire? Then who are we? Because we, in a way, may not be achieving anything anymore. But probably one of my reminder to the seniors is that no matter how old you are, you still can get involved in doing something. All right. And I think in our society, there's always this constant so-called push or encouragement for seniors who are still healthy to volunteer, to get involved in something. And that is something that they can actually see themselves achieving something. But what if senior do not, and they tend to hide themselves at home? Then the achievement part becomes more and more fizzled off from them. The other area is a social standing. All right. Previously, I got this group of friends with me. All right. We lim copy, we retire with lim copy, but subsequently, after a while, individual one pass on, they move on in life. And I've come across senior that now they say that I go down coffee shop also, I don't see anybody. I don't even know anybody, and I'm alone. All right. And it will be probably difficult for them to start making friends again. Okay. And that this part of the social standing sometimes becomes very challenging for senior. Okay. The other one is their possession, their assets, what they have. What they have, they may not have a lot, or they may have a lot, but this part of it is that subsequently all this will fizzle away. Then who am I? I'm used to having maybe money. I work, I got money with me, but now I don't work anymore. Sometimes I got to depend on handout, so-called, from my children, or even from the social service agency. So these are things that actually cause a senior that I've seen some of them is that I've no more of use. There's no more purpose for me to even keep on living. All right. So when we talk about role of senior man, if a senior man doesn't have some of this, then probably they will be very inward looking into their own challenges, their own struggle. Okay, I just have a few more pictures here. Our health, I mean, all of us are aware, whether we like it or not, all right, our health will deteriorate. Okay, so if we all the while last time I can do this, last time I can do that, but now I can't do, then I'm stuck at home, especially those that maybe they are not mobile anymore, they have mobility issue. All right, some of them do not have even someone to help them to go out of the house. Even on wheelchair, they can't go out of the house. And this one actually caused a very big struggle in seniors. The last one is our physical health. All right, physical health can be the movement is a mobility part. That means we can't even, some of the individual that they can't even walk out of the house. Okay. And worse still is that if there's no one at home, like a caregiver or like a family member to help them to move. Okay. And I think one of the I've two stars here that is very important for us to take note is that our values and beliefs, I believe, is one of those that can carry us through. Even when we lose some of this, our values and values as who are we really within ourselves. Without any of this, then who am I? That part is very important to have that thought. Okay. At the same time, also our life narratives. Our life narratives actually put into us a history that we have walked through. And the history that we have walked through actually sometimes cause us to be defeated. Sometimes it causes us to have victory in our life. And if we do not manage that, especially during our senior, when we are older, all right, we tend to have a struggle to say, I've all this while I've been caring for my children, but now they don't care for me. All right, so disappointing, and they get angry and frustrated with that situation. So these are some of the things that I see in senior, and that's why I was just going to introduce to all of us. Probably some of you may have been asking the same question: who am I? All right, but these are some of the things that I run through that actually build us. All right, but yet when they build us, slowly when they are moving away from us, then how do we continue to stay strong? Okay. One of the things that we encourage senior to do is that this when we are in the senior, when we are seniors, it's an opportunity for us to build our own identity. It may be different from the past, but it's an opportunity for us to build. All right. Okay. We can start to prioritize our health and well-being, although let us not start doing it when we are in our 50s and 60s. We should start doing it in our 40s already. Prioritize health, because it is through those, when we take care of our health when we are young, it will help us in our old age, knowing that yes, our health will still deteriorate, but maybe at a slower pace. Then we often have opportunity for personal growth and also learning. All right. We also can strengthen relationship, even with our children. Yes, we also got to fit into their time. We also got to know, okay, in the past, how has our relationship been? If in the past, if relationship with the family members is good and building, chances are when we get older, our relationship with our children will still be maintained there. At the same time, we can also strengthen relationship with others in the social setting. All right, I think in Singapore, we have many different agencies like Active Aging Center. We also got daycare. They organize certain events, especially Active Aging Center, they call AAC, that actually organize such event for seniors. At the same time, I mentioned earlier on, with regards to volunteering, is that this is how we can actually continue to contribute to society. All right. One of the challenges that I see senior is that they feel that they are no more important, they are no more necessary. But if they continue to contribute to society, all right, even from young to old, they will learn, they will feel that they are important. And I think that's where we actually get our energy to make changes into our lifestyle. All right. So I just hope that this short sharing itself will just give you some idea on how we can actually function into the role of a senior man, but having this foundation, which is very important. Yeah, back to you, Shanton. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Indeed, that was a very clear explanation of how we define ourselves and how we identify ourselves when we ask ourselves, "Who am I?" Um, while we let Philip rest for a while, I was wondering if I could just pose this question to Brian, which was posted in our Q&A. Brian, what is your experience with regards to elderly men who come and join Bros Before Wars? And maybe I can also combine this question regarding, do men's mental health become worse after retirement? And why I want to put these two questions together, Brian, is because I know senior men can range from like 50 to 60 or 60 to 70, 70 to 80 or even 80 to 100. And I think they are very unique categories in themselves. So Brian, what's your experience as you interact with senior men?
Gotcha. Okay. So let's be upfront, right? If the senior men, which could be mid-50s and beyond, if they are coming out seeking a thing like a bros nights, they're already in a good place, meaning that they're active, they're looking, they are helping themselves or seeking for themselves. So they're already in a pretty good and proactive place mentally, right? So I think that's something to acknowledge. So those are the guys that come, the more senior guys. So how we interact with them. So usually when they're coming for, they're curious, and two, I can tell they just really want to share their wisdom. They want to hear what's going on. They're interested in how younger guys are doing. They're just curious. They just want to learn, and of course, they are also looking for social connection too, right? So for sure, we hang out. We give them opportunities to speak. The guys in their 30s, 40s love hearing their stories. So we give them a lot of airtime, but again, it's nice and balanced. So we just treat them like one of the bros. Nothing special, because they don't want to be treated differently or specially, right? So that definitely happens too. Another thing that's coming up quite a lot with some of these men, again, 50s and 60s, is that some of them come from very, very high pedigree career backgrounds. They want to do more. They want to mentor from a work perspective, and they also want to even be entrepreneurial, do some freelance consulting here and there as well. So again, we just hook them up in very organic ways, and then from there, we try to materialize some of the opportunities that they're hoping for too. So broadly speaking, the more senior men that come, they are active, they are seeking, they are wanting to share and wanting to give back. So that is how we interact. But to your question around, does it get worse after retirement? To me, I can totally understand why we may feel that it may get worse, but I can tell you the seniors I've met, they are pretty far on the other side of the spectrum where they are feeling a second wind. They are wanting to do more, they are curious, they are hungry, they want to learn. A bit of a rare and extreme example, one of these older men, his day job is to go around and find where he can spend his family's money. They have a family office. That's his job, to go out and find where to spend. So yeah, Philip, you want some bros before woes? He wants to give into us as well. So again, you'll be surprised. The picture that we have around more senior men become isolated, lonely, grumpy, and whatnot. Not necessarily true. I've seen a lot of examples that are absolutely not the case.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Brian. I was wondering, Philip, would you have a take on the mental health of senior men as they retire, as they grow older? What do you think?
Okay, actually, when I mean those men that I see, basically they come for counseling. So many of them actually go through different type of losses. All right, it can be their health, can be their mobility. All right, many of them that I see basically that they are from the poorer group in the society. All right, although there are some individuals that have been they did very well in the past, but now because they lose their business, and then some of them they actually lose their limbs because of diabetic. So that part probably different from what Brian see. All right, and this senior men they basically their mental health is pretty bad. All right, and chances are they'll be quite distant from their loved ones, even if they're married, quite distant. All right, and this is the challenges they go through. And one of the thing about being having this identity is that they will see themselves as useless. No point living because I got no more identity already. All right, I am just eating on handouts. All right, or even I don't want my children to continue to have to give me. Why don't I just move on in life or just pass on? So these are the seniors that we mostly see. We don't see seniors that are healthy that comes to us because basically they'll go to Brian because they want to do more things. Okay.
Yes,
Ours
yes.
is more of those that are more on the downhill part of it. Yeah.
Yes.
So these are the
So I
two
guess Brian's, yeah, that's right. So Brian's role would be to look after the bros who are before their woes, but once they encounter the woe, they'll go to Philip. But Philip, can I ask what kind of counseling would you do, and how do you help these men
when they
once they
go through
come to
that.
you?
I think one of the thing that I mean, for example, if a senior man mobility is very bad, okay. So one of the things that we try to help them after building some relationship with them, help them to uh yes, we have to acknowledge their suffering, we have to acknowledge their pain. So this is the thing that we actually spend a lot of time with them. All right. And subsequently hopefully they can come to a point that they accept their situation, they accept the condition. All right. And slowly we help them to focus on things that are still doing good in them, in their life. Although they may not be much, although they may not be many, okay. But it is our interaction with them, our conversation with them, in a way we visit them during in terms of the counseling, that they see that there are still people that still cares for them. And I think that is the part that we actually try to put a lot of effort into it. All right. Although it's very challenging because sometimes they look at it and no one cares for me. So once they feel that somebody cares for them, then I would say that emotionally they will become slightly better. All right. And that may also help them in terms of their physical health not to deteriorate so fast. So this part of it is that knowing in the seniorhood, many of the solution cannot be resolved one in terms of the problems they're going through. But then what can actually nudge them a bit to live on, to see things that are still positive. So this is what we try to work with them on. Yeah.
Sure, thanks. It sounds like the treatment is more to help the senior men look at it from a cup that is half full rather than is half
Yes,
empty.
yes,
That
yes.
sounds like what I take away from
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
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 thanks
yeah.
for that, Philip. Yeah,
Mm,
there are a series of questions regarding men in homes. For example, there's one attendee who says that his father, who is 66 years old, has become very withdrawn, moody,
mm, mm,
isolated after retirement, but he refuses to seek any kind of help or even meet his friends. And
mm,
then there's
mm,
another person who says, "Oh, my husband refuses to seek help. How to persuade him?" And then
mm,
another husband says, in the 60s, Aya, what for? Talk to, it's all about talk, 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 talk for what? No, then every day he's just become very quiet and he loses
mm,
his
mm,
temper over
mm.
small things. Wow, sounds like a very
Mm.
challenging
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Either
yeah.
Philip or Brian. Maybe Philip, what do you think from the counseling
Uh,
perspective?
okay, if any of this family member were to actually call us, all right, what we normally do, we will if the caregiver or maybe the wife or the children, if they can maybe come to us for one session or two sessions, then we can understand when the seniors start to have that situation. Because if normally they are very quiet, they are the very quiet type, then will be very different. They may be more of the very introvert type. But if they are normally active in their work and now suddenly they are no more working, then chances are the situation is because now they feel themselves as of no purpose in life. So we actually help the caregiver to maybe see how can slowly nudge. It is like, for example, if a senior goes through an operation, I mean, we talk about man, he goes through an operation, a knee operation, and he comes home. All right. Yes, definitely, as a caregiver, loved ones, we want him to exercise. We want him to do physio. Okay. But to him, it's painful. So I got this man that he actually I went to see him because he feel that he want to die. No point living. His complaint is that before knee operation, I am better than better than now. So he blamed the wife for asking him to go for operation. He blamed the doctor for doing a bad job. So he and the wife having that conflict. So slowly I slowly let her understand that when you go through operation, you go through exercises, definitely it's painful. So that part there is then how do we empathize with them? All right. Family members, chances are for that wife, she will push her husband to go, oh, yeah, I'm going to exercise. The doctor said you must do. So then the man get very angry, get very frustrated. So in terms of counseling will be that then help the caregiver says that, yes, you can encourage them. Maybe you go down with them. Maybe you go down together with them. Maybe they do not want to go out for a meal. Then maybe you just said, okay, I want to go for breakfast, then join me. But it need a lot of persistence. All right. Then slowly, hopefully this man will open up. All right. And uh I know it's quite sometimes very challenging for caregivers to try to do the nudging because the the closer to the closer your loved ones are to you, all right, chances are they may not listen to you. So then that may be some of the challenges. Yeah. That's why we actually will definitely try to approach to the on the counseling aspect. But I do understand some individual they refuse to go for counseling, and I mean in a way sometimes it's really uh it's hard to push in if they refuse. Mm,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you can recommend that the horse go and drink water,
Yeah, but
but
if they
you
don't want
can't force
to,
them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we can work with the family members first and see what can
Family
be done.
members.
Yeah.
Yes. That's nice to know that even family members can
Can
avail
play a part.
themselves to you, Philip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you think? I'm sure you have also encountered men who are a bit more withdrawn at home. They just don't want to share and they feel they've given up giving their opinions. How, well, have you encountered such men in Bros Before Wars?
So let me give a perspective, which also covers another question that I saw in the list, in the Q&A, which was, are men and women different when it comes to mental health and all of that? So for sure, you don't need a clinical guy like Philip or Brian to tell you that men and women are different. So it's the same when it comes to mental health and well-being for sure. One of the insights that I feel is relevant to what Philip just shared and to the few questions that come in is that sure we think counseling and we think therapy, talk through the problems, get it out, right? But most men or men in general don't
Do
operate
things. They like to do things. Sorry.
around they're a lot more action oriented. They like action. They don't like to talk about feelings. They are happy to do things, right? As they do things, talking will naturally happen. So I hope this helps for people. Women tend to, not everybody, tend to operate face to face. Let's talk it out. Let's have relationship over a meal, over high tea, all of those sort of things. But men, we operate side by side, right? That's why we operate best fishing side by side, watching football side by side, and that's when most conversation begins to flow, right? So men have the side by side posture and they like to do things. So if you wanted to nudge or engage a guy, middle, doesn't matter senior or not, right? It usually do it around action or around activity, right? And again, to motivate movement, to motivate action, again, it's also like, hey, grandpa, right? Gong gong, right? Or whoever it might be, right? Hey, can you help fix your grandson's bike? Wow, try.
Yeah.
That'll get them going because they feel useful, right? And as they're fixing the bike, as they're fixing the trying to do the simple screwdriver fixing it, that's a very prime time to talk, ask questions because they're feeling good, they're feeling useful. So don't focus on top. It's a bit of a hard wall to get through. Focus on usefulness, making them feel useful, letting them do things that are useful, and then from there, that's just bringing them back to how they used to feel about themselves, how they used to feel that they could add value. And once they're there, that is a prime time to have discussion and to engage, right? Doesn't matter healthy or not, doesn't matter well off or not. Men tend to not engage so much around speaking and therefore around action and usefulness.
Thanks, Brian. I think the repairing the bicycle is just very one practical example of how our men in our families can be made to feel useful. Philip, I was wondering if there's this other question about what happens when there are suicidal thoughts and ideation. And I want to combine this question, Philip, if I may. What are some other practical things, in addition to repairing bicycles? What are some practical things that our families can do for our men, whether younger or matured, to help them to feel useful so that they don't lose their identity? Perhaps you've come across some of these cases in the work that you do.
I think one of the thing about quite often when they are younger generations to staying together with the older family members, the parents, all right, often the youngsters will like to make decision on what to do and all those. And I would suggest that it's also good to, even your father or mother maybe in the 70s, 80s, all right, it's good to have some consultation sort of a session with them, talk about it rather than you being the younger ones make their own decision, especially for parents who are still staying with their children or parents who are staying with their married children. Okay. All right. I mean, we have one senior, this one is an auntie, all right. Okay. She actually stay in a bungalow together with the children, all right, and the daughter-in-law. So it was a granddaughter that actually called up to say that my grandmother is very moody. All right, can you all help to talk to her? So she was willing to come. So from there we found that she's upset that she's not allowed to do anything at home. Always a maid will do. The daughter-in-law don't allow her to do anything, and she's upset with that. All right. So slowly we talked to the granddaughter to let her know that what is some of the struggle they really do. And then when she was giving some responsibility, although we know that for seniors, definitely we cannot give them too much responsibility because it may be the weight and all those, but give her some responsibility. And when she got something to do, she was happier when she came for counseling. So that was a change in her. So like what Brian says, it's like the doing things, even for men, even for older ladies, it's the same. Doing things. All right. I got one uncle that not allowed to drive anymore. All right. And the children call up. I didn't see the uncle, he didn't come for counseling, but I spoke to the children for about 2 or 3 sessions. All right. Then slowly I helped them to see that. So when you say you want to bring your dad out for makan, all right, you just ask him to suggest for a place to go instead of you always be the one that, I mean, you care for your father, so you want to suggest place, but let him suggest. Help him to suggest. Yes, he cannot drive, but maybe let him sit in the front seat so that he can actually have that feel of that he's in the car in front there. So these are some of the ways that can help the senior feel that they are being respected, one thing, that they are given some autonomy. All right, yeah. So this part about senior, I realized that one of the reason that senior doesn't want to go nursing home and they want to be at home even though they are in a not a very good state of movement and all those things. It's because they are fearful that they got no autonomy. So now if they're still staying with us or staying in the house, then they also need autonomy in terms of whether decision making or a simple decision making. All right. And instead of saying that, oh, you are too, instead of thinking that you are too old already, we don't want to bother you. All right. That is probably something that will cause a senior to pull away further and further. All right. And that's what I think is one of those things that we can get done. Mm. Yeah.
So
For
it
the
sounds like we should stop saying to our seniors that, oh, we don't want to impose on you. We want you to
uh,
rest and relax in your old age. But actually,
yes,
they want to be
they want to
involved.
be involved. They want to
Yes.
be, and I think the best is ask the senior. All right. Instead of me thinking that, oh, I don't want to trouble my dad, lah. I don't want to trouble my mom, so they don't do anything. All
Let
right.
them decide whether they
Let
want
them
to be
decide. Yes,
trouble.
yes. Although at the
Yeah.
same time, we also need to weigh on the safety aspect of it, lah. All right. Discuss with them. All right. If they want to do something that you feel that is not very safe, then let them know that why you think it's not safe, rather than
Mm.
just quietly don't let them do it. Yeah.
So it sounds like the key is have a conversation.
Yes.
Don't just keep quiet and assume.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah,
mm, mm,
yeah.
mm,
There's one question for both Brian and Philip, if I may highlight this one. We have talked a little bit about good engagement strategies to encourage men to participate in activities. And this one is about active aging centers. I've actually also noticed this myself that
mm,
most active aging centers see more women participating
mm,
rather
mm,
than the
mm.
men.
Yep.
So I know Brian hosts conversations and it's just men talking, but how about men doing something? As Brian says, right? They want to use their hands and do something. They want action. They don't just want talk. So perhaps Brian or Philip, we can talk about how do we get the men to also become more participative and active?
Mm. Maybe I just share a bit first, then Brian can share. Okay. So basically, at this current moment, under A because Active Aging Center is under Agency for Integrated Care. All right. They I believe they're aware of the situation, and there's this transformation work that they are doing, slowly doing for different AACs or Active Aging Centers, to have activities that are more catered for men instead of like karaoke, cards game, bingo, and all those. So I know that some of the active aging centers, they actually have bicycle repair. They do bicycle repair, or they do simple, maybe some clock repair or whatever. So they are using activities to draw in men, and seemingly it is more successful in bringing them, getting them to come to the AAC. All right, instead of the normal sort of program. All right, but I believe this thing is in progress and it come in phases. So it's an ongoing thing. Yeah. I mean, it's good that someone asked a question. I mean, you asked a question. It's true. Many men will say that why do I want to go there? You know, because there are so many. I mean, they said that there are so many gossip going on, but I do not know how true. Or there's nothing for me to do that I'm interested in. So this is what they are saying. Men are saying that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Brian, what's your take on that? I mean, maybe you can include the younger men too. How do we get both the younger and the not so young men to be
Mm.
more active? And how can families, right, wives, mothers, girlfriends, how can we engage our men more in helping them to feel useful and needed?
Mm, got it. Yeah. So, what Philip mentioned around getting the guys to feel useful to fix things, right? In the activation centers, that's perfect. That's exactly leveraging the insights that is quite well known already, right? But I guess it's also just having a perspective on, again, what drives men. So again, fixing, feeling useful, that's a big driver for guys. But another big driver for guys is growth. So they
Mm,
love to improve, they love to grow. They're naturally competitive with themselves. I want to be
mm,
better. And they love to also just help others improve, right? And that's where mentorship, knowledge sharing, consulting businesses, that's why a lot of men, as they get older, they just want to give back. It sounds
mm,
really good and noble, which it is, but actually it's also very primal for them, right? They just want to give wisdom, help others improve, help themselves improve, growth, right? So anything that related to self-improvement. So I'm trying to give other ideas, right, around different from the active aging center, right? So anything around self-improvement, anything around wisdom giving, knowledge sharing, right? All of these are activities that would be appealing to them in a very
Mm, mm,
natural
mm,
way. So it's not
mm,
too,
mm.
yeah. So again, so let's say you have a more senior person or a more senior man in your life, grandpa or older uncle, right? But then, hey, just bringing the nieces or nephews
Grandchild.
or your own or your grandchildren right in to just say, hey, can you give some advice around careers, advice around this, right? Just share, right? All of that is very natural, and they'll be drawn to that, and they could just go on and on around that. And again, because it's not about the talking, because again, not very social naturally. Prefer to be quiet. Being quiet is easier, right? Being quiet and stoic is easier. But once you connect with their drivers around improvement, self-improvement, learning, growth, and all of that is going to draw them out, which is what we want, which is engagement.
Mm, mm, mm.
Thanks, Brian. I have another question which has been asked of Philip, and I believe Brian could also tag on thereafter. Is this question about how we advocate for the younger men to start planning for their second adulthood? Maybe it's like an adulting process. What's your advice for men who are younger to plan for when they become older? Has this got to do with the phases in life?
Yeah, definitely it's a phases in life. I think when they are young, they are so busy building a family, all right, in a way making money, all right, they want to progress and all those. And I mean, between the three of us, I do not know whether in our 20, 30, do we ever think that when we grow old, how we will be? Chances are not many, chances are we may not even thought of that. Okay. And the younger generation probably is something that those of us that are older one, we can actually advocate to them, remind them about maybe for myself, probably is that I didn't even think of that. But yet I got to speak with my children, speak to the younger generation. All right, that these are some of the things that why it's important for us to prepare. Yes, you may be very busy now, but you may be busy now earning the money, but by the time you have the money, do you have the health to do it? Use it. Do you have the idea of who you are when you are at that age? So helping them to pace their growth in terms of age-wise, all right, preparing them that, but I think it's more of having to advocate constantly talking to them. All right, because the younger generation, they will chances are they'll be busy building whatever thing that they need to build in, and they didn't see the future itself. Mm, mm.
Brian, what's your take on this? Younger men and how they prepare to become older men.
Sure. So, just a bit of sharpness around what the second adulthood is. So for sure, it's around later life planning, but it is also kind of a bit of a slang way to describe some of in a way, the midlife crisis stage where you suddenly start to reevaluate what your life was, you reevaluate what the last chapter or the second half will be like. So that's really what we're
Mm,
talking
mm,
about,
mm,
right? So to me, what sort of works or what connects with, let's say, slightly younger men, right, is this concept of the side hustle, right? The side hustle encourage men now, and I'm using the side hustle because they understand this lingo. They look up to this side hustle. So we should be encouraging young men, younger men, right, to be building their portfolio. And again, this is good language that they resonate with as well. Build your portfolio of experiences, build your portfolio of hobbies, right? Because all of
mm,
these will
mm,
contribute to your second win around the
mm,
business that you'll eventually start, around the side hustles or the sort of passive income that you can build, right? Some of they're very busy doing the job thing, but they love investing. So therefore, hey, lean into that hobby, get good at it, so that then that becomes part of your portfolio life. You're already starting to do planning, right? So just pushing the idea of side hustles, pushing the idea of a portfolio life, that is really
mm,
what is
mm,
tangibly working and very pragmatic. And honestly, I can speak to this because I'm literally living that now, right? I've come out of corporate the last 3 to 4 years on my own. I
mm,
am really riding the goodness of all the things I was doing in my younger years around
mm,
reputation, around goodwill, and around just being very active on my personal hobbies,
mm,
which are
mm.
now able to be my main portfolio these days.
Okay.
So to me, that language of portfolio life, side hustles, that is a connective idea that young men can look up to and can latch onto, and we as their partners, we as their parents should be just nudging them to
Mm.
lean into those and not ignore those parts of who they are.
Okay. Sorry, can I just add to what Brian said about the portfolio? Probably the other aspect will be having in terms of our lifestyle,
Mm,
of our health, adding
mm,
into the portfolio itself. Because there's this Mandarin saying, they say that 钱在银行, it means the money in the bank. All right, 人在病床, the person is in the hospital bed. All right. So I mean, they may build a lot of their foundation, their finances, or even future business, but yet it's like one of the things that is like what is their lifestyle continuously growing. All right, their health continuously being able to build to a certain point. Definitely, we know that we deteriorate. So all these things, I mean, I actually learned quite a lot of bit from Brian here, is talking about how to build them from young. Okay, basically, many of us in our younger age, all right, probably in my parent generation, never think about that. All right, and some of us are still in that age group. We didn't think too much, but now the younger generation, probably they are more aware of some of this building. Mm. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. So, like Philip, I've also learned a lot from both you,
Mm,
Philip and Brian. My
mm.
takeaways are, I think, acknowledging and having conversations with our important. So don't stop the conversation. Don't assume. Have a
Mm,
conversation. Acknowledge and recognize if there are any pain points or any struggles that anyone in the family is going through. That
mm,
we also have to focus on our values and beliefs, and that would take us through to life because that is our constant, our values and our
mm,
beliefs. And thank you very much, Brian. I like that phrase, right? Men are naturally competitive against themselves, and that speaks to how we must keep improving.
mm,
And
mm,
I think my summary for all that is our mental health, whether men or women, our mental health comes about when we are able to have started planning for our finance, for our hobbies, for our social life, even planning for when families may get smaller or more extended or more isolated. It's all about planning and thinking through it and talking about it. So
mm,
thank you
mm,
very much for having a platform at Bros Before Wars to do just that, and also for Philip to also offer the counseling services. So in closing, perhaps I can show a slide of what Philip would like to offer to our
mm.
audience tonight. So, Philip, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, basically, this is a brochure that we have. So we brochure is that don't suffer in silence, especially those that are going through mental health challenges. All right, so those who are having maybe sleepless night, or grieving over the loss of a loved one, or experiencing stress from relationship issues, you don't have to suffer in silence. That's where I think this counseling service, currently it's a free service. All right, so here also state that some of the common challenges faced by seniors: coping with stress, strained family relationships, finding purpose in life. All right, facing difficulties. So the phone number is here, 65703916. Yes, we do have a boundary in terms of how we can meet our seniors. Okay, so basically, if you stay within this boundary, like Toa Payoh, Novena, Woodlands, Marsiling, Sembawang, and Yishun, we can conduct our counseling session in the home, because there are some seniors that are not mobile, all right, or even at our centers. But those that are staying out of this area, okay, you can still call us. Then we will probably try to arrange for you to come to any of our care corner centers that we can meet you, and then we can have a conversation together. Even for those who are caregivers, all right, you're most welcome for us to, whether to support you or see how to support you to support your loved ones. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you for that, Philip.
thanks, Shelton. Yeah.
And certainly for Bros Before Wars, Brian, you have indicated that we can go to LinkedIn, find you on your profile, and we can find all the schedules for the 8 courses and conversations that Bros Before Wars will host. Thank you very much for that. I'm also going to announce that in May, webinars will feature how to support families towards healthy sexual education. So again, this is our way of supporting the intergenerational family and helping grandparents and parents to be able to speak about sexual education with the younger ones in their home. That's in the month of May. So if you'd like to register for that, the QR code is there on the top left of your screen. And then in the month of June, we will be having another interesting webinar on online gaming. What are the good and not so good aspects of online gaming, and how can we encourage families, the intergenerational family, to participate healthily in such online gaming? And we have someone from Kids Play Safer to come to share with us about how we can help children play online games in a safe way. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining Granda together, as well as joining Brian and Philip in tonight's conversation. If you'd like to connect with Granda together in any of our social media platforms, on Telegram, WhatsApp, on YouTube, or even on our website, please do scan this QR code that you see on screen, and you can select which channel you wish to connect with us on. At the end of this webinar, as you exit Zoom, you will be sent a feedback form, and we hope our participants tonight can share with us your thoughts, help us to deliver even more relevant and useful, apparently, webinars for you out there. So, on behalf of Brian, on behalf of Philip, I'd like to say thank you, everyone, for a wonderful evening. Thank you for all your questions, and thank you for your active participation. Good night and have a great evening and week ahead.